Hello there. Welcome to episode 165 of She Creates Business, a podcast for wedding pros. This is your host, Kinsey Roberts. Thank you very much for being here. For those of you listening in the future, there is a little bit of talk about COVID-19 and the coronavirus crisis that we are currently going through as I record this episode on March 18th, 2020. If this is the future, I am so happy that we are past this. I'm gonna look forward to that. So if that's you guys, stick with us. We have a lot of great information about increasing our revenue streams in our wedding businesses here in just a few minutes. But before that, I just have a handful of things to say about the COVID-19 and coronavirus crisis. First things first, if you need someone to talk to, if you need support in the sense that you just want to work through scenarios or you really just need someone to hear you out, to vent to, I am so happy to be that person. You can find me on Instagram. I am at She Creates Business. I am not an expert in epidemic diseases. I am not an expert in COVID-19 or coronavirus whatsoever, but I am definitely a good listener and I will point you into resources that might help you all day long. I have created a spreadsheet of all of the incredible and experienced vendors in the wedding and event space who are creating information around this crisis. You can find that at the show notes of this episode. You can also find it at the link in my Instagram bio. Again, it's just a totally free Google spreadsheet. It's very simple, very basic, but it has tabs on the bottom for where to find specific information. So there's a tab for marketing, there's a tab for taxes, for legal questions, there's a general tab for just great series and blog posts that are being shared by kind of stalwarts in the industry. There's a link to the CDC, there's a link to the World Health Organization. Gosh, there's even a link for your kids. If they're home with you for a month like mine are, there's a link for a bunch of stuff for them to do and activities that you could keep them busy with. So again, find that in the show notes of this episode, or you can find that at the link in my bio on Instagram. I'm at She Creates Business. And the next thing that I want to tell you guys is that I am going to start a little challenge. I know that it's sort of hard to look through all of the clouds that we feel like we are just sunk in right now, but I myself have been so grateful for basically just kind of that I have the option to kind of take a break. I know that there's so many first responders, so many healthcare workers, so many other people who have no option to take a break from what is actually happening. And we do, in a sense. You know, we can turn off our phones for a minute. We can turn off our computers for a minute. We can sit in our rooms if we want to, just in the silence. And I feel like there's a lot to be thankful for. And we really could use a bright side and a bright spot. So I've created just a little campaign. It is called Grateful Wed, and I'm calling it a Grateful Wed Party. I have been working with Katie Hinks, who is a graphic designer and one of the owners of Kehoe and Kin, which is a wedding venue in Canada. And she has been so delightful to help me create these graphics that are totally shareable. And they're just ways for us to post to social media, to share what we're grateful for, to tag other vendors, maybe tag your couples who've been amazing. Just share what is going on that is going right, that you're excited for, that you're looking forward to. And again, this is not meant to be tasteless and that we don't know what's going on in the world. It's to say we know exactly what's going on in the world, but we can still find things to be grateful for. I'm grateful for all of the vendors who've really stepped up to help us reschedule. I'm grateful for all of our couples who've been extremely understanding and gracious and communicative. I'm grateful for my family, for my health, for our friends, for social media and texting right now, because it's been amazing to see how everyone can still stay connected. So if you would like to post some Grateful Wed images and Insta stories and share that, you can find those at the link in the show notes of this episode. I'm going to share them on my Instagram as well. And I would love for you to tag me at She Creates Business, use the hashtag Grateful Wed, and let's get kind of a gratitude party started on social media so that we can look forward, that we can see that we really are, we have a lot of blessings, even though we're going through a challenging time. And then finally, here's some more good news for you guys. Everything in the Pro Shop is 50% off. Like, let's just have some good news. It's all 50% off. It goes hand in hand with this episode because you know I care about marketing. And I'm going to tell you in this episode, I don't think you should not be marketing your business right now. I just talked about this on a webinar in Megan Gillikin's The Planner's Vault membership last night. And I feel really strongly about this. And that's because it is our job to be pillars of strength education and information and professionalism as much as we can to our current couples and our future couples. We don't have to be pros. We don't have to be experts. We just have to be an open ear, an open heart, and a shoulder for people to lean on so that we can say, listen, I don't have the answer to that, but I'd be happy to find it for you. We're still in business and we are going to get through this, you guys. I know we are. So I feel passionately about marketing your business, and I hope you are. I know I am. If you have any questions about that, if I can help you at all, please let me know. 50% off. Use the code 50OFF. That is 50 off, all capital letters in the shop. 50%. There is nothing excluded. That makes the She Creates content calendar under $100. That makes all of my lead magnets, I don't know, like $5 or something, $4.50. I can't do math. You guys know that. So 50 off. That's what you can use in the pro shop. Share it with your friends and let me know if you have any questions. So we're going to talk about adding additional revenue streams to your wedding business in today's episode. And the reason we're going to do that is because there is something to be said for making sure our businesses are not one-trick ponies. And when we go through something like COVID-19 or coronavirus, it really can shine a light on the weak parts of our business. I know I have felt that way about my own venue. I felt that way, it shined a light on some of the weak parts of my contract. I shined a light on some of the weak parts of my own marketing and our own revenue streams and just what we do to make money. And it's important that we don't have income coming in just from one place, because when the legs get swept out from under that one place, well, then all of a sudden we have zero revenue. And that's what creates really challenging times in our business, whether or not we go through something as horrendous and unpredictable and terrible as we are right now. This is good information for now and for the future. I'm sure you guys have heard this statistic before. It's something that I always refer back to because I think it just helps illustrate what I mean, that the average millionaire has 7 streams of income. There has to be something to that, right? They make, and you can insert whatever number you want here. If you're thinking to yourself, well, I don't want to be a millionaire, Kinsey, that's not my thing. I totally understand. I really just mean someone who has a sustainable lifestyle, who has a sustainable income stream. They have more than one. And I think that that's really smart. And so that way, when something, gets swept out from under one revenue stream, you may have 2, 3, or 4 other streams to count on. So we're going to talk about ideas that you can implement in the future. You can work towards those ideas in just a second. But right now, because of COVID-19, I want to talk to you about more immediate money makers, especially if you need them, if you're losing revenue, if you've had to lay people off, if you want to give those people ideas, maybe you want to give the people you've laid off ideas of how they can make more money, your vendor friends who've lost money. Let's talk about just a few ideas here. These are, I feel really passionately about tactical tips that you can stop this episode and go take. So that's what I have for you today. Again, I am not your financial coach. I'm not a financial expert. I just want to share with you what I've learned, what I think is a good idea. And, if anybody has any other ideas, please come over to Instagram and share with us. The more the merrier. And the more we can have kind of a collective brain trust around all of this, the better. So let's talk about a few things that can help you right now in your finances. First thing is first, if you are a person who has business loans and business credit cards, and any business debt, now is the time to call those people. I know that they're probably extremely busy. I don't know what their answer is going to be, but now is the time to call them to see if they have any special offers for COVID-19 impacts. If you don't ask, the answer will always be no. So potentially you could call to see if you could get a stay on your payments on your business credit card for 3 months or maybe 2 months or 6 months, whatever they're willing to offer. Could they pause your payments for any amount of time? Right now is the time to get all of that information. I know you have a lot to deal with, but if you do have any sort of business debt, don't wait until this passes to call and kind of, come up for air. Call now and see if you have any options for pausing, for any help, anything. I mean, just ask. Like I say, if you don't ask, the answer is always no. Again, I'm not a financial advisor, but I did want to share with you because I've been keeping a little bit of an eye on this ever since my Chamber of Commerce sent me an financial impact form. I'm a member of the local Chamber of Commerce, and in order for Colorado to see a need for small business financial assistance, my local chamber of commerce, and I have to assume that, all chambers of commerce did this, sent out a form to just a sampling of their members that you could record your financial impact from this crisis on. And they use that form to give to your local government. So anyway, I'm not saying to reach out to your local chamber of commerce, although that's not a bad idea. They should definitely have information from you. But what I am saying is that when this sort of thing happens, when disaster strikes, usually the feds will implement some sort of financial help and financial backing. And you can a lot of times get that through the Small Business Administration, or SB as in boy, SBA. And so usually you can apply, it's not a grant or just a gift. It's typically a loan, but it's a very low interest rate business loan. What I could gather on their website is that interest rate is usually 3.75%. So it's extremely low interest rate. You can apply for that kind of business loan if your business has been impacted by COVID-19. I will put the link to all of this in the show notes. Again, if you have trouble finding the show notes, please do not hesitate to let me know. I'm happy to help you find that. Again, I'm not a total expert on this. It's just something I've been keeping an eye on ever since I got that financial impact form from my Chamber of Commerce. So you can find information at the SBA. I'll include the exact link in the show notes of this podcast episode. Again, it's not a gift. It's not a grant. These are loans that you will have to repay, but they have a very low interest rate, and they're disaster-specific loans. There is such a good message of postpone, don't cancel. Postpone, don't cancel, save events. And I totally agree. I love that the Rising Tide Society and all, a lot of vendors are really preaching this message. It's given me a lot of hope, and I hope that you're doing that with your clients as well. As always, before you do anything when it comes to canceling, postponing, especially in a time like this where it's confusing and could be very, very challenging to know what to do. I know I have felt that way. Please talk to your attorney always. I know that there's a lot of great information online, but every state is so different. I don't think that has been illustrated more clearly than it has in the last couple of weeks with everybody's quarantines and bans and gathering information. It's all been different. They're all trying to get on the same page. That's pretty clear, but everything is kind of going at a different pace. So please check with your local attorney, but I would really encourage you to try to help your couples understand that postponing is in their best interest instead of just canceling. And on the spreadsheet I mentioned, I have some really great resources from other wedding professionals who've been in the industry for years and years and years with verbiage you can use when it comes to this. Because being clear, being communicative and transparent, I think in this scenario is so much better than trying to be, very stiff and very professional. Like we think, oh, if we're so professional and stiff, then they won't question us. But honestly, I don't think there's anything wrong with saying, listen, Sally, yes, you might think that my cancellation policy or you having to pay a date change fee for a peak day in 2021 is harsh, but I can assure you that I am only doing this to follow the letter of my contract and to keep my employees on my payroll, to keep my business going. I have financial commitments as a small business. I have financial commitments as a contributing member of my family and a contributing member of my community. And we're not using this money for profit. We're using this money just to keep going. It's okay to be transparent like that. Words matter and your verbiage really matters. And, I'm not always articulate, especially I'm an 8 on the Enneagram, so I can actually just be very straightforward. But, I'll put some examples for you in that spreadsheet for ways that you can say this that really helps people understand where you're coming from. And again, being transparent and authentic and genuine in this scenario, I think will help people understand where you're coming from instead of just, please see section 12 of your contract. I don't offer refunds. You know what I mean? It's important that we manage our business's reputation during this time period because it may be all we have left to rebuild our business after we get through this, if we have to, make some huge financial adjustments. And so, yes, follow your contract. Always reach out to your attorney first to see what you can do. But also, if you need to make some exceptions in this crazy, unprecedented time so that you can manage your business's reputation, so that you can help people, so that you can call on that human aspect of your business, I don't think that's wrong. But please talk to your attorney. Okay, That's all I'm going to say about that. This year, you may need to take on additional clients that are outside of your ideal client or outside of your ideal service to bring in extra income, but that's okay. There's nothing wrong with that. Whatever you need to do, you can do anything temporarily. My friend Caitlin and I always say this. Our go-to is, oh, you can do anything for a year, because we know how important it is to get experiences under our belt. So sometimes we, of course, put ourselves in situations that we don't love, but we learn so much from the process. So for instance, if you're a wedding planner who has moved fully to full planning packages and you never want to do month of or day of coordination again, whatever you call it, please don't at me for what the verbiage that I call it. I don't care. Whatever you call it, but if you know what I mean. If you're someone who prefers full planning now as opposed to day of or month of brides or couples, then maybe you need to rethink that this year only, or this season only, or next season only, if you really need to pad your business with extra income. It's okay to expand your services. You know how important I think it is to niche down so it's easy for people to refer you business. But again, these are unprecedented times, and I'd rather see you stay in business than to niche down so hard and cut the legs out from under yourself. So it's okay to take on additional clients and additional work that may not be your ideal temporarily, so that you can stay in business and keep the commitments that you've made for these couples, for next year's couples that you probably are already booking. Okay. The next thing is, if you are really in a bind, pretend you might, or, if you have to lay someone off, or if someone's not working out, if someone, needs extra work because another vendor of theirs has gone under or what have you, I hope that's not the case, but maybe they or you need to take on extra work with other vendors. Again, just to pad your income, to bulk things up. I know we're all very busy, but these are just ideas you can share with your fellow vendors. I know we all have different financial situations and different business situations. You could become a second shooter if you're a photographer. You could assist other local planners if you're a wedding planner. You can ask venues if they need additional help if you're anyone. I can speak for myself as a venue owner. If I needed to hire people in a pinch later in 2020 because we are rescheduling all of these weddings to 2020. That's not happening for us right now. But if we did, and I had a bunch of weddings in 3 months' time and I needed to hire fast, you can bet your bottom dollar that I would be happy to hire quickly anybody in the wedding industry, a calligrapher, photographer, I don't really care who it is, because I understand that they conceptually know what a wedding is. Maybe they don't know what it is to be a day of coordinator or a venue assistant or a venue manager, but I can teach anyone to do anything as long as they're a hard worker and a hustler, and they already know what about a wedding. So heck, we're halfway there. That's, less training on my part. I would be happy to do that. So those are places where you can look to see if you can find extra jobs that might be able to help pad your income. And speaking of jobs, do you need to get one? Maybe that's the case for you this year. Don't be afraid of that. Don't be ashamed of that. Ain't no shame in that game, you guys. If you need to get a job this year to feel more secure, to get insurance after this crazy time, I love that. I'm proud of you for making that decision, and I think that's wonderful. If you need a job right now, look for businesses that really need assistance. They are out there. Do you know how busy grocery stores are right now? Interestingly enough, I put this in my notes so I wouldn't forget to tell you, I actually got retargeted on the internet yesterday with an ad from King Soopers City Market that they said they were hiring immediately. And it's because delivery is booming. Everyone's trying to get their groceries delivered, and that particular grocery chain offers delivery. They're understaffed. Delivery is booming. They're understaffed. They need to hire. I know that might not be your ideal, but again, you guys, you can do anything temporarily, and I commend you for making hard choices and just showing up, right? We just put up and get it done. I wanted to share this for people who are looking for something that's more long-term. I don't know if I've ever shared this before. I absolutely love the website called Flex Jobs. I'm going to put it in the show notes. It's called Flex Jobs. I've had a membership to Flex Jobs for years. Even though I'm an entrepreneur, I never get rid of it because I love to see all of the remote jobs that are coming up, and it's all flexible jobs. It's not just remote jobs, but Flex Jobs is actually how I have found all of my remote and flexible positions always over the years, including when I found my job, who I worked for up until last year, Acuity Scheduling. Amazing company. Love them so much. But that's how I found that job. And that was an incredible job, salary, insurance, all the things. So it's a website. It was dedicated when it first was founded to just remote working, but now it is expanded to all jobs, flexible. There's a ton of remote positions on there. It is a membership. You do have to pay for it, but it's extremely affordable. And again, I love that website. I think it's so valuable. I also have a special affinity for it, I think, because it was started by a mom out of Boulder, Colorado, when she had her either her first or second baby. And she was just like, why isn't there a resource for flexible positions? Why aren't there more flexible jobs for moms? And anyway, I'm from Colorado. I live in Colorado. So I think that's so amazing. So shout out Flex Jobs. Again, I'm putting that in the show notes if you guys want to look at it. Okay, I did mention this a little bit and I want to talk about it a little bit more, but right now, I want you to be marketing your business. It's really not the time to pull the covers over your head or the covers, the proverbial covers over your business and just sink into like a deep cloud and just not talk about anything because you think that you're being insensitive. I don't want you to be insensitive. That's not what I'm saying. So please don't hear what I'm not saying. But I think what you can do is put your marketing, put your content through the tasteful and tactful test. If you are being tasteful and tactful, and if you're being empathetic but optimistic, then that is okay. And you should continue to market your business. Otherwise, how will anybody know you exist? I was speaking about this on that webinar last night that I did in the Planners Vault. Again, that's Megan Gilligan's paid membership for planners 0 to 5 years in business. I have a special link for you in the show notes if you're interested in something like that. I am an affiliate for that. I'm also a partner of hers and I do education in there, fully support that. But what I was telling the women on that webinar last night is that if nobody knows you exist, nobody knows you exist. And that's still true when we are in a time of crisis. And here's the thing, 2021 couples, and this is not because they're jerks and not because they're not empathetic at all. That's not what it is at all. But they're still excited about their wedding. I just booked 2 couples over the weekend for 2021. I got another inquiry today for 2021. My business partner, my sister-in-law, she booked a 2021 couple yesterday as well. And so the reality is those folks are still onward. They are not being impacted. And so that's why I said, if you put it through the tasteful and tactful test and it passes, then it's okay to post it. So just be thinking of that as you're posting, as you're marketing. Now is really the time to dig in and hustle. And remember, I always say in the podcast, in business, you can spend time, money, or both. That's not my original saying, but I'm going to adopt it, right? You can spend time, money, or both. And listen, if you're really in a financial bind, then now is your time to spend time. You don't have to do paid ads, but if you have a little bit of time from postponement, if you have a need to book more weddings in 2021, it is your finest hour as an entrepreneur to show up for those people, to show up for your current clients, and to get creative, to be nimble, to be flexible. We have that luxury. We are not bound by corporations who might lay us off because it's a hard time, or we are not bound by, I guess I have to get this messaging approved through 3 departments because we're in a crisis hour. We get to be the captain of our ship. And if you don't have a lot of money right now or you're too nervous to spend it, I understand that. Spend your time. Spend your time. And today that's what you can control. You are in control of your business. You are in as much as you, and I know you're probably like, I don't feel in control right now, Kinsey. What I mean is you are in control of how much time you spend on your marketing, how much time you spend showing up again as that pillar of strength and support and education to current and future couples. They need you right now. How much time you spend showing up as that curator of helpful information, of pointing people who even are not your couples to the right information. Don't be the person who sinks and puts the cover over their head because they don't think they're being a nice person by still being excited about weddings. We look to the future as it gives us hope, and it's okay to have hope and to be optimistic. Now, you don't have to be ridiculous. That's what I'm not saying. I mean, don't act like absolutely nothing is happening, right? It goes back to being tasteful and tactful. But look to the future, give people hope, and show up as the expert so that you can book those weddings in 2021. Maybe you need a few more than usual because this year has been really interesting. If you need help and ideas with marketing, I am here for you as always. At She Creates Business. I'm going to say that 100 times in this podcast episode. Come find me on Instagram and we'll talk about it. You can do this. Don't let fear control you, and don't let fear control the marketing of your business. Stay consistent, stay out in front of this thing as much as you can, and continue to book couples. Because like I said, 2021 couples are booking. Your leads are probably slower, your inquiries are probably slower, but that's okay. That means you can crush it on your processes and on your follow-up processes. And I believe in you. I believe in you guys. I know you're tired. I know you're stressed. I get it, but you can do it. Okay, and then finally, I wanted to give you a tip that I learned just a couple of days ago from Maria Bayer, who has been on this podcast. She is the owner and the creator of a selling course. The name is escaping me right now. She's awesome. I'm going to put it in the link in the show notes, though. Like I say, she's been on the show. She is just a genius. She has done work for huge corporations like Target and many other names that you know. Irresistible Selling. Ha! I knew I would get it. She's the founder and creator of Irresistible Selling. And I sat on a webinar that she was on the other day, or that she put on, and she said something really interesting, and that is so true. She said that there are people who are not broke during this time, and they won't be after this time. And now hear us out, okay? Don't just say, oh my gosh, that's so insensitive. What she's saying is that there's plenty of people who are still going to have money before, during, and after this period. And that is so true. And she said, raise your prices. Raise your prices, because the people with money will continue to spend. And that is true. And they'll be the ones spending immediately when the crisis passes. And wow, that really opened my eyes. You don't want to appear less valuable if your prices are lower. Raise your prices. You can do that. Now, again, don't hear what we're not saying. We're not saying price gouge people and, get crazy. But what she's saying is that there is a subset of people who will still have money to spend, and you want to sell to those types of people. Because again, you don't want to put financial strains on those who don't have money, right? So we don't want to try to talk people into spending their money with us if they are really struggling. They need to find someone who is extremely affordable. You want to sell to people who have money. So raise your prices so that you don't appear less valuable, right? Because that's pricing psychology. That has nothing to do with the crisis right now. That's just pricing psychology. When something's cheaper, it seems like it's cheaper. When something's more expensive, it seems like it's more expensive, right? Okay, that's all I'm going to say about that. If you want to, go check out Maria Bayer. Again, she's the creator of Irresistible Selling. I'm going to put all of that in the show notes as well. Alrighty, so those are just a couple of tips that I have that you could immediately put into action right now. What I'm going to talk to you about today when it comes to adding additional streams of revenue to your wedding business. Now, what's important to keep in mind here is a few things. I don't want you to think of completely off the wall and off the rocker ideas. When we try to think of ways to add additional revenue to business, sometimes I see the mistake my clients make, which is they want to come up with something that's so unique and absolutely new. And then they tell me, oh, this is amazing. I don't see anyone else doing this. Not even in my market, just in general. I don't see any other wedding professional in general actually doing this. And that always makes me cringe a little bit, because you may think that is a UVP, a unique value proposition, but what ends up happening is that it's actually a detriment, because there's no proof of concept. There's no proof of concept. When you have something that is so bizarre, not bizarre, but I'm going to use that word so that you kind of get it. When you have something that nobody else is doing, instead of selling, what you end up doing is explaining, because your couples don't get it. So try not to think of stuff that is so off the wall and that, quote, no one else is doing, because that's not a unique value proposition. That actually can become a liability, because again, you just expend your time explaining what your business model is and trying to talk people into it, as opposed to actually selling, because there's proof of concept. They get it. They don't need you to tell them what a photo booth is. You know what I mean? And I'll give you an example of, the photo booth example I used, because that's one of my examples. But anyway, okay, so let's talk about ways you can expand your income streams. And again, don't think of things that are too unique, and also stay within your zone of genius. And we'll talk about that. Number one, let's talk about digital products for clients. Digital products for clients, so client-facing products. This is something that I always like to recommend first, because I do see other people doing this. I know that it works, but sometimes in the industry, I don't see vendors taking full advantage of it, because we're all doing what? educating other vendors. And when we think digital products, and this is definitely one of my examples, so this is not a razz, but when we think digital products, we always think for other vendors, for other vendors. We want to become educators, and there's nothing wrong with that. We'll talk about that. But I'd love for you to talk about creating digital products for your clients. Here's some ideas for how you can do that. You can create digital courses for them. Those can be online courses with video. Those can be online courses that are just text-based. Those can be online courses with a variety of both video and text-based course modules. There are entire platforms dedicated to hosting courses now, like Thinkific, like Kajabi. There's another one, I can't think of the name right now. I'm sure you guys are saying it, but creating how-to courses, planning-related courses, create your own centerpiece courses, how to do your own wedding sign courses. Let me show you how to be a calligrapher courses. Listen, I know we are professional vendors, and so sometimes we cringe a little bit at the DIY couple, but I've got news for you guys. They still exist. They still exist. And so when I say how-to courses, how-to for the DIY couple, for the not DIY couple. Maybe they just want to learn something new. Maybe they want to share it with their best friend who is interested in becoming a planner. I don't know. Don't discount those how-to courses. And again, those don't have to be all video. So if you're like, I don't want to get on video, you don't have to. You can make them text-based. You can make them a variety. And even if they are video, it doesn't have to be your face. It can just be your voice teaching, like this podcast. And more ideas are ebooks and guides. So a guide to planning, a guide to wedding venues, a guide to photographers. All of the lead magnets I have that are for sale in the pro shop, those are all guides, right? So I have a venue guide planner. I have a photographer guide, a caterer guide, a gratitude journal. I'll talk to you about journals in just a second. Those are all client facing. I sell them to wedding pros because I'm an educator, and I sell them so that you can use them in a client facing capacity, right? Another idea is planners. So of course, wedding planners, vendor planners, you could do maid of honor planners, you could do wedding shower planners, bachelorette party planners, you could do journals like the gratitude journal that I have in the pro shop. Another idea is printables. I've seen a lot of graphic designers move to like printable invitations, wine labels, water bottle labels, new home decor, like quotes and artwork. If you're someone who is a graphic designer or you want to hire a graphic designer to help you create a line of quotables or printables, again, invitations, water bottle labels, all those things. I have some resources for you here in just a second, but I want to back up and just shine a light on what I said. You do not have to be a graphic designer to branch out into any of or you don't have to be, the best teacher or the best anything to branch out into any of these revenue streams. If you're thinking to yourself, I'm not a graphic designer, I can't do invitations. Why not? Why don't you hire someone? And then it's your business, and you don't have to be a graphic designer. I'll tell you something. There is a man named Andrew Carnegie who used to be the richest man in the world, and certainly in the United States in the late 1800s. And he was a steel magnate. Do you know how much he knew about steel? Nothing. He knew zero. That's a big goose egg about steel, but he hired amazing people who knew everything. And that's how he made his money. That's not the only way, but that's part of the way he made his money. And you can be the same. So don't let that stop you. As we go through all of these ideas, do not let it stop you if you think, I'm not a graphic designer, I'm not this, I'm not that. Cool, hire someone else to become it for you. Do you think I'm a graphic designer? No, I am not. I put out all my ideas and flesh them out on paper, and then I have a graphic designer help me design my products because ain't nobody got time for that. I don't have time to sit in Adobe. Somebody else does though, because it takes them way less time. Okay, off of that. Resources. So now that I've told you to hire people, what are some resources that you can use if you don't know how to create planners, ebooks, courses, etc., but you have the fully fleshed out idea for it? I love an online marketplace called Upwork where you can hire freelancers. I love an online marketplace called Fiverr. Again, you can hire freelancers. A great place to find freelancers and graphic designers and other people to help you create things is to put a call out on social media. media. That's such an easy way to do it. I've done this multiple times. I've put calls out when I need graphic designers. I've put a call out for a new business plan that I have in my mind, and I was able to connect with my friend Taylor, and she just texted me and said, hey, I saw your call out on social media. Like, what are you looking for? I told her exactly what I was looking for, which wasn't what I said on social media because I didn't know what it was called. And I was able to find a resource for what I needed. It was incredible. So don't negate that. Even if you don't feel like you have a big following, who cares about your size of your following? Find out if, your network is your net worth. So if you find people in your network who can help you, then that's where the best place to get resources. But love Upwork, love Fiverr. Creative Market is amazing for graphics, for icons, for fonts. It's a wonderful place. I love it. I get all kinds of stuff from Creative Market. They also have customizable planners on there. There's a lot of graphic designers now who have really queued up to the customizable Canva templates like I have in the Pro Shop. And you can sell customizable, they sell customizable Canva templates, and you can buy commercial licenses on Creative Market. Commercial license means you can resell it, not in the form that it's in, but you can resell it in a non-customizable form. So I'll give you an example. Let's say you bought a 50-page customizable Canva workbook template on Creative Market and you purchased a commercial or extended commercial license. If you totally customize that workbook and make it a wedding planning workbook for couples, then you can resell that wedding planning workbook for couples as long as it's in the PDF form that is no longer customizable because you've done all that work. Yeah? Does that make sense? Okay. That's digital products for clients. Oh, you guys, I forgot to tell you, I have created a PDF download for this episode so you can follow along and write out your own ideas for revenue streams. It will be in the show notes. You can find it also at shecreatesbusinesspodcast.com/episode 165. And that way, again, you can follow along with this episode. You can write out your own ideas for income streams, and also all of the income streams ideas I'm mentioning today are in that PDF guide. Okay. Number 2, physical products. Physical products. Hear me out on this. Physical products are not what they used to be with the invention of print on demand and drop shipping companies, which I love. And I'm going to give you 3 resources for those types of companies. I myself sell welcome bags on Vista View Events' website that are all they have cute little sayings on them that are all related to the mountains and adventure because we are located in Colorado and that's who a lot of our couples are. And again, physical products, there are so many options now. Yes, you can order in bulk and stock hundreds of physical products at your house, or you can do like I do and use a print on demand drop shipping company so you don't have to pay for anything up front. You only pay when a product is ordered and everything goes through that company. It's incredible. Here are some ideas for adding physical products. You could add totes like I have, mugs, physical invitations, photo booth props, wedding shower or bachelorette party decor or props. You could do physical planners or physical journals. The 3 print on demand and drop shipping companies that I like the most are Printful, Printed Mint, and Printify. All 3 of those are awesome. I personally use I've used Printed Mint. I also use Printful pretty regularly. That's where I get my totes from. And all 3 of those companies have the general same products. I mean, of course, you could do apparel, you can do home decor. Maybe you want to actually get into another stream of income. Like, let's say you are let's say you're a planner and you love the idea of having engagement props, or no, I'm sorry, not props, but you love the idea of doing a full line of the cute engagement mugs. What a great gift, or what a great add-on for your clients, where you can, of course, advertise it on your website. It can be part of your contract or part of your bride guide or your couple guide, put it in there. And I don't mean part of your contract as in like, you're required to buy this. I just mean part of your onboarding material where you're saying, hey, if you need mug gifts to ask your girlfriends to be your maid of honor and your bridesmaids, go here. So think about ways I don't want you to do something that's going to distract you from your business, but if you are in a position to expand your revenue and expand your resources and you want to do something new, think about what you can do that relates to your business that's going to bring in additional income. And again, I don't want you to be I don't want you to put all of your focus into something that you don't know is going to work unless it is a minimal investment on your part. So for me, I invested in a print-on-demand dropshipping company because I did not want to buy 500 tote bags and then have to sell 500 tote bags just in case it didn't work. I'll tell you right now, I am still working through earning revenue from our welcome bags, but I'm not giving up because I know that it's something that would benefit us, and I know it's something that we can do, and we might have to pivot and do a different product or add other products, but I'm not afraid to test it because it was such a minimal investment for me. I don't host any product at my house, so I don't pay for anything unless there's an order, and the minimal investment that I made is a graphic designer off of Upwork to create the little sayings for me, and that's it. So I'm willing to test. And that's part of my nature too, is I'm willing to test and I like to do new things. And so if that's not your nature, some of these ideas may not work for you, but for me, I enjoy trying new things, even if it doesn't work. I love this saying that I'd rather choke on greatness than nibble on mediocrity. And so I'm not afraid to test. I'm not afraid to try. A lot of my stuff doesn't work. I'll tell you that right now. Like 8 out of 10 ideas, they just don't work. But those 2 ideas that work really work. And that's when you find kind of that diamond in the rough, right? So physical products, and I just gave you just a few ideas. Physical products are a way that you could expand your business income. I have an awesome podcast episode coming up with a wedding planner who has expanded to, she has a stationary and invitation physical location, like brick and mortar. She has a wedding venue and she started as a planner. So she has a wedding venue now. She has invitations now, which is a brick and mortar shop, physical product. And she has one more thing. Oh, magazine, a local wedding magazine. So talk about having multiple streams of income, having multiple streams of revenue, but they all relate to the wedding industry. So it all makes sense, right? It all jives together. She's not trying to be like a balloon animal maker and a wedding planner. You know what I mean? Okay. Number 3, this is, that's why I mentioned the wedding planner I have the interview with here, is because this really coincides, is adding a new service addition to your wedding business. Now, again, I don't want you to distract from the way you are currently making income, but if you can add a new service addition that brings revenue, that makes sense for your business, that is needed in your market, and right, you've done that market survey to make sure that it is something that is needed and more importantly, desired so that people will pay for it, then do it, right? The planner I'm talking about, she knew that her town needed a certain kind of wedding venue. So she did it herself. She knew her town needed a stationary and invitation shop. So she did it herself. That's what I'm talking about. Rentals. Could you add decor rentals of some kind? This is great for planners, venues. Now think through what would be an easy add without adding a ton of work. So for instance, whenever I talk to somebody about adding rentals, I don't really encourage them to buy a bunch of glass because you know what you're going to do with all that glass? You're going to clean it. Every single wedding. It's going to be the worst. Linens, don't recommend that whatsoever. Now, if you're somebody who's like, oh, I don't mind washing and pressing linens, then good on you. But linens and glass are like my nightmare. But what can you offer as far as being a rental company that is easy upkeep, that it won't add a ton of work to your time, but adds a huge value to your clients? So rentals. Could you add corporate events as a service? I had Carol Lyons from the Roar Playbook and the Roar Events Group on my podcast a couple episodes back. She's incredible. That was a really popular episode. The Roar Playbook is her course all about, just literally step by step. And I can say that because I'm in that course, adding corporate events to your planning roster. And, if you're a planner, this is great for you. If you're a venue, that's a great course for you too. That's why I'm taking it, because then it really helps you understand how the interworkings of corporate events and corporate planning. And so I encourage you to look into that. And, as Carol says in that episode, which I'll link in the show notes, corporate events just have a way different budget. It's so different than weddings. And absolutely. Now I know that, as we work through this crisis, all events have been impacted, but there's no reason not to look to the future, and corporate events may be that future for you. Photo booths. I love the idea of photo booths, photographers, DJs, videographers, heck, even wedding venues. How easy. If you learn how to use a photo booth and you just included it in your venue, I think that's such a good idea. Or photographers, videographers, DJs. When we can add services that really make sense for our business and more importantly, really make sense for our couples, and now all of a sudden we really become more of a one-stop shop. I'm not saying you have to have everything. I just mean you become more of a one-stop shop for everything that you're offering. It's sort of the reason photographers offer videography and vice versa, because all of our couples want photos and they want video. Isn't it nice just to get it from one place? Yes, it is. It's so much more convenient. What can you offer your couples are willing to pay for that makes their life easier? Photo booth is something. It's really something I've been thinking about. It's like a one-time investment and then we have it all the time. Florals, especially you planners out there who are incredibly, incredibly talented designers. You've done florals in the past. Maybe you worked for a floral person in the past before you became a planner. I have a planner friend in Virginia and she added florals to her planning company. Now, mind you, she did this in a really smart way where she wasn't trying to add chandelier installations and huge arbor installations. It was basic floral packages that suited her ideal couple perfectly. So she always added florals to all of her planning packages and increased her revenue right away because they were like, absolutely. If I can get my centerpieces and my wedding party florals and all at the same place with my planner, yes, please. I'm game for that. Offer, this, I'm going to speak to a little bit to my venues right now. Offer in-house transportation. Or you want to get your liquor license? Those are two ways you can make additional income. These are two things that I am in the process of working on for my own wedding venue. They both require an investment, don't get me wrong, but if you are looking for something that actually produces revenue right away, find something that your couples need and want. And for us, that's transportation and in-house liquor packages. Be creative where you get your shuttles. If you're somebody who wants to add in-house transportation, ours is used. We're really excited about it, but it's in amazing condition. You don't have to apply today and spend thousands of dollars to get your liquor license, or you don't have to go out and do this today and spend thousands and thousands of dollars to offer in-house transportation. But what if you took the time now that we all have a little bit more time, now that we're all thinking more about additional income and additional revenue sources for our businesses, to sit down, make a plan, begin researching, begin filling out required paperwork. If your liquor license is something you're super serious about, begin making plans. And so that when you are ready, you are actually ready and you don't have to spend all your time doing it because surprise, you already did it. So again, new service additions to your wedding business, couple of points, the 3 points that I want you to remember are, what are you already good at? What do you hate doing? Don't add that. What is going to make sense for your business? Make sure what's going to make sense for your business. More importantly, what makes sense for your clients. And then finally, point number 3 to remember when adding a new service is before you add any service to your business, you have got to make sure you have done some sort of market survey or data gathering situation where you know this is going to be a service that is going to produce revenue for you. That's what we did with in-house transportation on our liquor license. We know that it's going to produce revenue for us. We have the data. We have almost 4 seasons of data to back it up. And so don't add things, again, that are so shocking and surprising and you just think they're cool without knowing if they're going to produce an income for you. Okay, number 4 way of adding additional revenue streams to your wedding and event business is, and I mentioned this, that I would talk about this in one, is doing coaching and education in some capacity for other wedding vendors or other pros or just other businesses in general. If you don't necessarily want to be a wedding educator, you don't have to be, but do you have any skill sets you could offer that would help our industry? If you're already in our industry, I think a lot of people become educators because they're in that industry. So it's easy for them to get a hold of that client, right? And it also helps them niche down. But you could offer your services to any other professionals, especially if this is something that you see a lot in your future. For me, I don't see myself in my future, when I'm 50 years old, still hanging out at my wedding venue. I just don't see that for myself. I'm going to be 33 this year. I don't even see, I'll be honest with you guys, I don't see myself at 40 years old chilling at my wedding venue. That's just not what I'm going to do. And so right now, I am, of course, making moves to do things that I'm extremely passionate about, that I'm really good at, and that's marketing strategy. because that's what, for me, I see as my long-term future. And it's okay to think that way. It's okay to have an exit plan. It's okay to think, how am I going to do this in the future? That doesn't mean I'm not going to be a venue owner, but I won't take on as much of a venue owner day-to-day role, right? You just become kind of like the owner overseeing, and that's my future. And I see myself more working on a daily basis with other wedding professionals and, implementing and crafting marketing strategy. So here's some ideas for you for coaching and educating other pros or other business owners. You could, of course, offer one-on-one coaching. You could also offer ongoing coaching, one-time strategy sessions, one-time consulting sessions. I was just telling you at the beginning of this episode about Katie Hinks, who's one of the owners of Kehoe and Kin. She is an incredible graphic designer. So she's a venue owner, yes, but she's an insanely talented graphic designer. And she's a wedding pro and a venue owner. So she pretty much knew exactly what I needed when I started the Grateful Wed project. And I said, okay, I know this is super fast, but this is what I want to do. And she just got me. So it was so valuable. I'm going to refer her to everyone because she just understood what I wanted. So that's one thing that you can do is one-on-one coaching, one-time strategy, one-time consulting, ongoing coaching. You could do group coaching. And it doesn't have to be, let me teach you how to be a venue owner. Let me teach you how to be a planner. It could be another skill set that you have, right? Services. I know everybody wants to get away from one-on-one work, but honestly, if you actually want to make money super quickly, offer a service because people need it. I'm not kidding you. Creating passive income products like courses, like digital products like I have, that is not the fastest way to make money. It just isn't unless you already have a large audience. And so if you need to make money quickly, you need to look into offering services. That's why it's quote, easier to start a business where you're saying, I will offer, in exchange for the XYZ dollars, I will therefore offer you planning services, photography services, calligraphy services. We're all service providers. It's the fastest way to make money. Digital products is not the fastest. It will make you money, but it's not the fastest. So if you're great at social media, offer social media. If you're great at marketing, offer marketing. If you're great at, graphic design like Katie is, offer graphic design. If you are a person who worked in branding and strategy prior to joining the wedding industry, maybe you could be a brand coach for people. If you are somebody who actually worked in, kind of like a human behavior psychology and sales capacity before, could you offer like a sales psychology strategy sessions to wedding professionals to help them increase their booking and close rates? I don't know. I just made that up, right? So just think about what skill sets you have today, what skill sets you have in the past, and how you can offer those in or outside of our industry to bring in another revenue stream. And you might find that you become extremely passionate about this. I think a lot of times we are afraid to explore additional revenue streams because we think we have to be like all in on one thing. And if we're not, we're failures. And I got news for you guys. This time in this industry for you might just be a stepping stone. Eek. Did that feel weird or did it feel great? I'm going to say it one more time. What you're doing today might just be a stepping stone to the next great thing. You may not be a planner forever. You may not be a photographer forever, a calligrapher, a venue owner, a venue manager, alt caterer forever. It could just be a stepping stone to what you are meant to be doing or to the next great thing. And then the next great thing after that. And when we start looking into our talents and our gifts and offering those and really coming through with what we are good at, we get to those places faster. So I don't want you to think like, I can never leave my wedding business or I can never quit because then I'm a quitter. No. This could just be part of your journey. And your journey is not over yet. It doesn't end and die with your wedding profession, right? Okay. Let's see, where was I? Okay. And so then of course, the other option when it comes to educating other professionals and coaching other professionals is courses, digital products, ebooks. Again, I talked about those from a client-facing perspective, and now I'm talking about those in the same capacity, but from a like a B2B facing capacity, which is what I do. I sell digital products in a B2B capacity to other wedding vendors in the pro shop, right? That's an example. Who else does? Megan Gillikin with the Planners Vault. It's a membership for wedding planners who've been in business 0 to 5 years. That is a B2B service. That's a B2B membership. If you were selling a wedding planner, that would be a B2C product, right? Business to client. So courses, digital products, ebooks. Again, that's not the fastest way to bring in income in your business unless you already have a big audience. So keep that in mind. And then finally, speaking. If speaking is something that has been on your radar, what I think is so great about speaking is that in addition to, of course, paid in-person opportunities, there's actually becoming a lot of online and digital paid opportunities as well. People wanting people to speak inside their Facebook groups, to speak at their online and virtual summits, to speak at their like virtual conferences, and especially after this time period. And again, I'm not trying to be crass, I'm just trying to be hopeful, but especially after everything we've gone through with this COVID-19 crisis, I think we're going to see a lot of shift and a lot of people getting really creative and flexible with what they offer because they don't want their business to be a one-trick pony either. So they might look into offering even more opportunities digitally. And if you're someone like me who loves speaking but really doesn't enjoy traveling as much, which I don't, I love my family, I like to hang out at my house on the ranch. I'm a bit of an introvert in my 30s. I love talking to other people. I love speaking, but I really don't like to do it that much in person, except for like very few occasions. And so I have been really, really enjoying getting to know virtual and digital opportunities. So that is what I have for you guys today. I hope this has really got your mind turning on, number one, what we talked about at the beginning with ways you can help your business right now amidst the COVID-19 crisis. And then number two, ways you can start brainstorming and helping your business in the future so that when the unknown happens, when the unpredictable happens, when the unprecedented happens, your business isn't as impacted. Not that anything is, set in stone, but your business is not as impacted because it has multiple streams of revenue coming through that is supporting it, that's protecting it, and that is most importantly keeping it sustainable. So thank you for joining me on today's episode. Don't forget the Grateful Wed. I want you guys to come get those graphics, share them on social media, tag me at She Creates Business. Let's create some hope and some goodwill and some gratitude on the internet as far as the wedding industry, because we've taken some hits, you guys, straight in the gut these last few days, and we can be the light, really. And remember, everything at the Pro Shop is 50% off. 50% off. So 50 off. That's the code. It'll be in the show notes. You guys are awesome. I'm thinking about you. I am here for you. Find me on Instagram. Let's chat. Take care of yourselves. Take care of each other, and we'll talk soon.